Hey guys, I found some great small cap stocks for you today that are exploding higher on huge volume, even in these uncertain geopolitical times. Let's have a look at the charts and let's analyze.
So, first chart we're going to have a look at tonight is LXU, that's LSB Industries. And as per our usual examination of a stock, what we like to see is long periods of consolidation and nothingness. And all of a sudden, they've had a good earnings, perhaps disappointing earnings back here, and it's not really doing anything. And they've had a pop, a 10% surprise, not huge amounts, but they've had a sudden jump and they're starting to look like they're going places. So if we zoom in a little bit here on the LXU chart, very interesting, isn't it? So a little bit of a pullback and then a sudden pop and then a little bit of a pullback. And I'm fully expecting a pop above the 1554 any day now. So a little bit of increasing volume slightly, and then it's all happening, isn't it? So previously they were trading around 360,000 and now we're looking around 6 million. So something's happening. Do we have any news on LXU? Anything interesting happening? Shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected results, and that's the better than expected results. There's obviously more to the story that is evident, but I'm finding this one very interesting. And if you've gotten in here, what I do is I put in the blue lines just as a note to say I'm starting to watch it. That's just a note to myself. And you could be looking at a 35% return in just 8 bars, which is 8 days, so a little over a week. So this is looking really fantastic. I'm going to watch this. Anything over 1540 is a buy. So keep your eye on LXU. As I say, I can't see it doing nothing for the rest of the year. It's definitely going to be going places. It's had a really nice, it was struggling to get above $10, wasn't it, for quite a long time. If we go back even further in time here, you'll see it was up in the highs of the highs at one point. Um, let's go right back. Let's just crush the chart. Oh, that's as far back as we can go. Oh no. Yeah, so it was trading away up at almost $40 back in 2015 and looks to be making some very interesting moves. Very rarely is that chart move the end of the story. So huge long period of consolidation and all of a sudden it's starting to trend higher, which I find very exciting. So LXU definitely one to watch. And let's move on to similar kind of thing. ACT, not ACDC, ACTG, entrepreneurship, whatever that is, Acacia. And you'll see again this long period of consolidation. They've had a couple of good earnings. Someone's consolidating there on their last earnings, 600,000. And then someone just dropped 2.8 million on this, and that's made it pop. So is the person who's dropping 20 mil or 8 mil, should I say, on the stock, do they know something? Yes, they probably do. They haven't made much money yet, but mark my words, the volume's coming down and I expect a jump up past $5 any day now. So we'll keep watching this one. That's ACTG, looking very interesting. Now, how about this AVR? Really interesting. So it's come back to the 20-day moving average, and we'll find out over the next few days what it does if it drops down. But that's a pretty strong trend line. I just continued it here because I think that's kind of interesting. That might be the way it goes, something a little bit like that. And so pullback here, the RSI has dropped quite significantly, back down to sort of previous lows ish. And I'm liking the look of this one also. LXU, we just spoke about, so I can close that one. RLMD, that's Relmada Therapeutic. Again, someone is dropping huge money on this after long periods of consolidation. Where will it go from here is anyone's guess, but it's looking pretty good to me. It's had a bit of a pullback, disappointing earnings, miss, so that wouldn't be something I would be jumping on just yet. And yet, here we are, someone dropping 43 million times 6. So you can do the maths on that, over almost $250 million. So let's see what's happening. Someone who's dropping $250 million at around $6.50 would probably be wanting to make some money here. So I'm very interested to see what happens with RLMD over the next week or two. So that's interesting. Similar pattern here. Interesting pullback on SLDB, healthcare and pharma. They're having a big volume day as well, so we'll just keep our eyes on that. Pretty choppy, but big volume coming in here around 4 mil. There's disappointing earnings results, so we'll see what happens. But to me, that's looking pretty interesting. Grace is something which I really, really like. I've been watching it for a few days now, and they're having a little bit of an explosion, a volume explosion spike. You're usually trading at what, 77,000, tiny little micro cap, and yet there's something happening here, isn't there? It's very interesting. And so that's a nice strong uptrend there. I'd be buying the dip. It bounced off the 50 a few times, 50, 50. Inevitably will come back. We check the RSI, and it's been way down at the lows of 46 and 46. So I would probably be getting in at 46. I'll wait for a pullback here, but expect more explosive movements with GRCE. That's looking really tasty. This is also very interesting. OCGN. This is a buy for me right now. I may well put a bit of money on this one tonight. 6 days of down volume, and it's not too great. There's a lot of volume selling there, but you've got to have big balls if you want to be a winner in this business. And with the RSI is way down there, that's kind of the time. Be greedy when others are fearful and all that sort of stuff. So it's never broken below the 200-day moving average, and this is a nice pullback for those of you with big balls who want to get in on this. So I'll be watching this. You could call it a bit of a fake out, but it's just a sort of natural pullback to the 20-day there. So I like OCGN. And let's have a look at SWB. This is just cool. This is great, isn't it? They've had a great earning. If we can just load the chart, that would be fantastic. So I really like this one. PXS just looks great. That's tankers, so maybe they've had a blowout. In relation to obviously to earnings, but I'm not sure what their business will be looking like over the next few weeks with regards to the war, but it seemed completely unaffected. And what's interesting with this stock is that, since the war started, whatever it was, 2 months ago, and it's just blown up and it's very, very robust. So I like this one a lot. It's had a pullback to the 20. That's your kind of buy. It's been respecting that 20 ever since the breakout in January. This is a really good stock, and it doesn't seem to give a toss about what's going on geopolitically. I really like PXS. So that's kind of a buy signal for me. There's very strong volume, 87,000, and it looks to be going higher and respecting that 20-day moving average. I really like it. I would probably wait for a down day or a bit of a pullback back to the 20s, and I would get into that. That's looking really strong. And Sing, I'm actually in this one now. So I thought I'm going to take a bit of a crack at this one because I really like what's happening. There's loads of volume coming in through here. Big sell-off after they had a great earnings, which is obviously weird, but that's the stock market for you. And you could have gotten in when I started watching it. It had a little bit of a pop here, and you could have gobbled up, you could have doubled your money in 2 weeks, which is amazing. I don't think this is the end of the story with Sing. I think there's a lot more coming. This is health and pharmacy, and it's just a wild stock. It's done nothing for a really long time, and I actually bought in here and got stopped out. So it just goes to show you, maybe make my stops a little bit wider. But this looks really interesting. I can't wait to see what happens with this one. I think it's very unlikely that it will just die a death and never do anything ever again. And so I'm in here, 150 shares at 717, so $1,000, whatever. It's not very much money, tiny percentage of my portfolio. But if it starts to behave as I expect it to behave, which is, this 20-day moving average continues to go along in this kind of direction, then I'll be buying more. So once it gets up here somewhere, I'll probably invest more if I realize it's not collapsing all the way to zero. So that's it. And so that's the wrap today. And in these uncertain geopolitical times, in the war, there's obviously stocks that aren't really giving a toss about what's going on in the world. And Sing, CING, and all these other stocks are just one of them. So now is the time to buy, and small caps are where it's at, as I've so brilliantly illustrated here in this chart. If you get in at the right time on small caps, you can double your money in just 2 weeks. So peace and love. See you next time. And here is another video I think you might like. More small caps. See you soon. Bye.